Hey everyone, welcome to How to LEQ, the long essay question. Today we are going to be going over the components of a College Board long essay question that is used in AP US History, AP World History, and AP European History. Grab yourself some coffee, some cookies, and a notepad so you can write down any questions you have or any notes that really stand out to you that would be a good reference point for later. This is an essay that lets you choose which historical thinking skill you would like to apply in response to a prompt. There are 3 historical thinking skills that we're going to be learning about: causation, comparison, and change in continuity over time, shortened to the CCOT. This essay is written in that typically the prompt will guide you towards a certain set of historical thinking skills. But quite often, one will be very obvious, but a second skill can also be used. This is to let you demonstrate your ability in forming a strong argument. The long essay question is an essay that's constructed by students using their own knowledge. Prompts will ask you to form an argument to evaluate a historical process, event, impact, evolution, etc., etc. The purpose is to test your knowledge of the subject, but also to evaluate your ability to practice the historical thinking skills. So, can you create a strong thesis and then support that thesis with specific historical facts? Can you analyze historical events and connect them to an argument? Basically, explain why it matters. Can you make connections between arguments? You're already doing this every day, whether it's in writing or whether you're explaining to somebody about an issue that you're passionate about and why you care about it. You're already doing it. So we're going to keep doing it, LEQ style, guys. The LEQ is worth 6 possible points. So we're going to break down the College Board rubric for you and discuss what it means. For 1 point, the thesis. The thesis responds to the prompt with a historically defensible claim that establishes a line of reasoning. The thesis must make a claim that responds to the prompt, and it doesn't just restate the prompt. It's one sentence located in the introduction paragraph of the essay. Your thesis must clearly answer the question. What we're looking for is the prompt is the question, the thesis is your clear answer. And your answer is so interesting that my response is, oh, tell me more. And that's your essay. Your essay is going to tell me more. You need to use specific terms, events, and ideas in your thesis. Contextualization is worth 1 point. The contextualization paragraph is the first paragraph that you are going to write. It describes a broader historical picture relevant to the prompt, and it must relate the topic of the prompt to broader historical events, developments, or processes that occur before the time frame of the question. Contextualization is essentially, how did we get here? What events had to happen to allow this moment, meaning the prompt? What's the big picture? My recommendation, click on this link or watch Star Wars: A New Hope, or really any Star Wars film, but this one's really good. And the first scene of Star Wars: A New Hope, you see this pathetically small ship being chased down by this big one. And we all watched that. We're like, they don't stand a chance, man. But then we ask, why is this happening? Well, if you didn't pay attention to the opening scroll, you're not going to know why it's happening. So go back, watch it, and read it. And that's going to tell you everything that had to happen that led to this moment of why the little ship is being chased by the big one. And then, get yourself some popcorn and just finish the movie. All right. Evidence. These are your body paragraphs, guys. You can get up to 2 points for your evidence. For 1 point, you provide specific examples of evidence relevant to the topic of the prompt. You've identified specific historical examples. For 2 points, your argument is strong because you have specific and relevant historical evidence. So how do you earn 2 points versus 1? Essentially, what we're looking at is you have quality topic sentences that are taken directly from the thesis. You have meaningful transitions between your ideas. And I'll actually have a document for you that was created by our media specialist to help you with this. And that document is phenomenal. Ms. Blair did beautiful work with it. So when you have that, make sure you say thank you. You're going to use different historical reading skills in your paragraphs. And most importantly, if you look at the image in the corner, do not double dip. So what does that mean? One of the most common errors that students make is they step outside the timeline. So pay very careful attention to the years that are mentioned in your prompt. Your contextualization, all of the evidence in contextualization occurs before the timeline of the prompt begins. All of the evidence in your body paragraphs must take place within the time period. You cannot restate evidence. There's absolutely no reason why the evidence should be mentioned again. So you cannot double dip. And finally, analysis and reasoning is also 2 points. So what is reasoning? That's using the specific historical thinking skills, comparison, causation, the CCOT, to frame your argument. The complex analysis is the second point in this. And we call this the unicorn point. It demonstrates a complex understanding of the historical development that is the focus of the prompt. So what does this mean? So essentially for that first point, can you demonstrate a strong historical argument? And your argument might be uneven. So as you're writing, you might find that there are more similarities than there are differences in a comparison essay. And that's okay. As long as you have evidence for both, it's all right. The unicorn point. This is a very difficult point to get, and here's why. The easiest way, and I laugh when I say that because it's not easy, but the best way that you can get the complex analysis point is to use multiple types of historical thinking skills in your essay. So for example, if you read the prompt and the essay is a change and continuity, can you identify a long-term effect of one of the changes? And we'll talk about where that information goes towards the end of this podcast. Can you explain multiple skills? Can you create insightful connections within and across time periods? Can you consider alternative views of evidence? Now, if you're writing a research paper, this is not as difficult. This becomes more difficult when you are introduced to a prompt and you only have 40 minutes to actually create an essay from it. That's why I say focus on using multiple types of historical thinking skills. So in review, your thesis, contextualization, evidence, reasoning, and complex analysis, aka the golden glitter rainbow unicorn. At this point, if you have any questions, feel free to pause this podcast, send me an email, reach out to one of your friends, and then when you're ready, regroup, and we're going to go over a sample essay as well as how to set up the essay. Our practice prompt for today: using evidence, formulate an argument that examines the development of the scientific and technical contributions of 2 of the 3 regions between 600 BCE, that's before Common Era, to 600 CE, Common Era. We'll be looking at China, the Qin and the Han, India, the Mauryan and the Gupta, or the Roman Empire. And for our practice essay, we have China and Rome. So what do you think is the best historical thinking skill to use? Causation, comparison, or the CCOT. So for this essay, I'm using comparison. So how do we actually create the body paragraph? So first, you've got your intro paragraph, you've got your contextualization, and the last sentence in that paragraph is your thesis. One sentence, two arguments. Next, your body paragraphs. So you have, for both body paragraphs, guys, you have your topic sentence introducing the claim being made. The claim must be taken directly from your thesis. You need to start out every body paragraph with a claim sentence. You have to do that. And the claim sentence must be all inclusive. You need to provide specific historical evidence that supports the claim. And you need at least two pieces of evidence to support each claim. And we'll take a look at what this would appear to be. And an explanation of why this evidence supports the claim. You do that for both body paragraphs. If you do a third body paragraph, you would repeat. And your conclusion, this is where you aim to add the complexity point. You throw in a different historical thinking skill to your argument before you summarize your main points. And honestly, your concluding paragraph could be 3 sentences. 2 would be the unicorn point, that complex analysis, adding that long-term impact that resulted directly from a change. And then you restate your thesis. And then you call it a day. So your body paragraphs, again, your claims, can be organized in one of 2 ways. They can be organized either by the historical thinking skill or a specific theme. So an example, a paragraph on similarities and a paragraph on differences. Or thematic paragraphs, a paragraph on politics and a paragraph on economics. I really recommend doing the second one, thematic paragraphs. And the reason for that is you'll have a paragraph on politics and you'll talk about the similarities between 2 empires and their view on politics, and then their differences. And then you'll repeat that for economics. And what you're doing is you're employing more historical thinking skills because you're not just doing, here's how they're the same and here how they're different. You're doing a direct comparison. And it shows that you can really analyze an issue using historical thinking skills. The one thing you always want to avoid is the geographic lump. Run away from it. Sprint. Don't do it. Because you're not going to be doing any kind of comparing and contrasting in any way, shape, or form. You're literally talking about one empire, and then you're done, and another empire, and then you're done. It doesn't work. You will not get the point. So avoid the geographic lump at all costs. Using evidence, formulate an argument that examines the impact of the scientific and technical contributions. So, we are looking at the Roman Empire and the Han Dynasty. So due to their size, both empires had a diverse population with access to natural resources. They were quite large. Rome in particular covered 3 different continents. The Han pushed their borders past those their predecessors, the Qin. United through the Silk Road, the Roman Empire and Han Dynasty were able to trade goods, culture, and ideas. And this allowed both empires to make significant scientific and technical contributions to the world. The Han Dynasty of China and the Roman Empire both made significant advances in military technology and medical studies. However, they differ in their methods of water projects. All right, so this is my contextualization, and then we have my thesis. And I've clearly identified the groupings that I will be using. First thing I'm looking at is technical innovation. So in matters of military technology, what I have in yellow, those are my similarities. And what I have in blue, my differences. But what I've put in purple is the extra information that I've added. That specific evidence to strengthen my argument and prove that I really do know what I'm talking about. So pause this for a moment and read it to yourself. All right, so we've unpaused it. We're going to move on to our second body paragraph. scientific innovation. So same thing here. Pause this, read through it. All right, moving on, we've seen both the similarities and the differences. And remember how I mentioned before, your arguments might not be evenly balanced. Here you can clearly see that I have more differences than I do similarities, and that's okay. And I decided to be, really focused and really like, go get them. And I have a third body paragraph. So same thing here, except this one is only the differences. But in this paragraph, because one of the things I've done, guys, this paragraph is only about the differences. And I wanted to make sure I had a stronger argument. And this is where I actually put my unicorn point. So one of two, like a couple of things I did this when I wrote this essay, I timed myself and I gave myself less time than you will have for the exam. I didn't have enough time to actually write a concluding paragraph. So with about a minute left, I came up with this statement. This is my unicorn point. I'm talking about concrete. I'm talking about how the rediscovery of concrete let the Italian city-states become some of the wealthiest regions during the Renaissance. And that shows that I really understand the long-term impact of this ancient technology and this classical technology. Things that we take for granted was once lost and then rediscovered. So if you have time, create that concluding paragraph and then throw in this piece of evidence. But sometimes you're not going to have that time. And I didn't have that time here. So I threw it in my third body paragraph and it still works. All right, y'all. Thanks for listening. If you have any questions, send me an email. Otherwise, have a great day. Cheers, everybody.